Hello world, it's your man Joey and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at a watch that caught my attention for a very specific reason. This is the AV86 1956 Marine Automatic in this beautiful blue gradient configuration. And before we get started, full disclosure. This is a sponsored video. AV86 sent this watch to me free of charge for the purpose of this review. They didn't pay me to say anything nice about it, and they didn't get editorial control over what I'm going to say. So we're going to talk about what I like and what I don't like, and whether I think this watch is actually worth the money. Because around here, free doesn't mean a free pass. If I don't like something, you're going to know about it. Now, the first time I heard about AV86 was actually through YouTube. I saw this watch in a video in the same talks with brands like Rolex, Omega, and Longines. And whenever I hear comparisons like that, my first thought is usually, here we go again. But then I looked the watch up, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that we're talking about a watch selling for around $500 directly from AV86. And that's when I started paying attention, because this thing is clearly drawing inspiration from one of my favorite watches of all time, the Blancpain 50 Fathoms. And if you've been around this channel, you already know, the 50 Fathoms is my holy grail. I love the simplicity of that design, and I actually like what AV86 has done here. They've taken that classic vintage dive watch aesthetic and put their own spin on it. And I'm perfectly okay with that. So let's take a closer look. The first thing that grabs you is this beautiful blue gradient sandwich dial. You've got these applied lume filled indices, and around the outside, you've got this contrasting sand-colored seconds track, and I really like that combination. The blue gives the watch a modern feel, while the sand color brings in that vintage, tropical tool watch vibe. Under the 12 is the AV86 logo, and I actually think it's probably one of the coolest brand logos I've seen. It looks like two fish passing each other in a very simple, minimalist design. It's subtle. It's not screaming, "Look at my logo," and I appreciate that. Above the 6, you've got the AV86 Marine branding, the 200-meter water resistance rating, and automatic. Everything is clean and easy to read. And then you've got the date window at the 3 o'clock. And, well, we're going to come back to that because I got some feelings about that date window. Protecting the dial is a big piece of double dome sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. And at this price point, that's exactly what I want to see. The double dome also gives the dial some really nice visual distortion from certain angles, which works perfectly with this vintage inspired design. And then there's the bezel. And this is where AV86 absolutely nailed it. You got a ceramic insert with a superluminova bezel scale and 120 click unidirectional bezel. And the action on this thing is fantastic. It's precise, it's smooth, it's buttery, and there's essentially no backplay on my example. You know when you spin a cheap bezel and it sounds tinny or it feels really spongy? It's weird. It's kind of hard to explain, but this isn't that. This thing has some of the most satisfying clicks I have ever experienced on a watch. I honestly think this might be the best bezel I've had the pleasure of spinning. And yes, I realize how ridiculous that sounds, but watch people know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, let's talk about this case. We're looking at 41 millimeters in diameter, a 49.2 millimeter lug-to-lug, and 13.8 millimeters thick. And on my 8¼ inch wrist, this thing wears beautifully. That's important to me because a 41 millimeter watch can sometimes disappear on my larger wrist. This one doesn't. It has plenty of wrist presence without looking like I've strapped a dinner plate to my arm. The matte finish on the 316L stainless steel case also gives it a really nice tool watch aesthetic. It's not overly polished, it's not trying to be jewelry, it's just trying to look like equipment. And I think AV86 got that part right. You've got an unprotected sign crown with excellent grip, and I actually like the way that looks. It gives the case some character. The watch also has a screw down case back and is rated for 200 meters or 660 feet of water resistance. So this isn't just pretending to be a dive watch. it has the specifications to back up that aesthetic. Now the watch comes on a 20mm Italian leather strap with a signed pin buckle, and I'll give them credit. The leather is soft and comfortable, but I have a problem because the first thing I did when I got this watch was take the leather strap off. Why? Because I took this watch to the Bahamas, and I'm not putting a leather strap on a 200-meter dive watch and taking it straight into the ocean. That's sacrilegious. You don't wear leather in saltwater. So I immediately swapped it for a sand-colored Sailcloth strap, and once I did that, man, chef's kiss. This thing looks fantastic. The sand color picked up the seconds track on the dial, and I even swapped the signed buckle to match to make it look stock. Now, I've got a watch that looks great, and it actually makes sense around water. I wore this watch in the Bahamas, like I said, and it handled everything I threw at it without any drama. But just remember, if you take your watch into salt water, rinse it with fresh water right afterwards and rinse it thoroughly. Salt water is not your friend. But inside, we've got a Miyota 8215 automatic movement from Japan. You've got approximately 42 hours of power reserve, a stated accuracy range of -20 to +40 seconds per day, and hacking seconds. The 8215 is a proven, reliable workhorse. It's not exotic. It's not sexy. Nobody's going to open up the case back and scream, "Oh my God, look at that 8215." But it gets the job done. However, this is where the bitching and moaning begins. At $500, I think the AV86 should have given us more. I'd like to see a Miyota 9000 series movement in this watch. The 8215 is perfectly serviceable, but at $500, I want something a little bit more substantial. And then there's the date. If you're going to give me a date window, I think it should either be framed or the date wheel should match the dial. That white date wheel stands out, and not necessarily in a good way. Personally, I think this watch would look even better as a no date. You've already got this beautiful, simple, vintage-inspired dial. Why interrupt it? Give me the clean dial. Let the design breathe. The Lume is another area where I'm going to complain. It's decent, it's functional, but it's not great. Kind of like my ex. But again, at $499, I think it could be better, especially on a dive watch. When you've already got sapphire, ceramic, 200 meters of water resistance, and an excellent bezel, I want the Lume to be equally impressive. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not going to make you think that you've strapped a nuclear reactor to your wrist either. Now, the watch comes in a beautiful wooden presentation box with an engraved AV86 logo. And I'll admit, it's a nice box. It looks premium. But here's the thing. You don't buy a watch for the damn box. You open it, you take the watch out, you admire the box for about 17 seconds, and then it goes to the closet. 6 months later, you're looking for something in the closet, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that damn box." I'd rather AV86 save money on the packaging and put that money into the watch. Give me a simple box. Give me the better movement. Give me better Lume. Because I'm wearing the watch, not the box. So after all that bitching, here's the funny part. At the end of the day, there's an ass for every seat, and my ass loves this watch. I reach for this thing almost every day, and that's something specifications can't tell you. You can give me the greatest movement in the world, you can give me the best bracelet, you can give me a fancy box, but if I don't want to put the damn thing on my wrist, none of it matters. This watch, I want to wear. I think that's because the proportions are so damn good. The 41mm case gives me wrist presence. The 49.2mm Lug-to-Lug makes it wear comfortably. The blue gradient dial looks fantastic. The matte case gives it that tool watch personality, and that bezel. Man, that bezel is money. Now, would I pay the full $499 retail price? Honestly, I'd probably wait for a sale. I think the watch is a little overpriced for what you're getting. The 8215 is reliable, but I'd rather see a 9000 series movement. I want that 4 Hz life. The Lume, it could be better, and I think the date could be executed better. or just eliminate it completely. But if you could find one of these in under $300 range, because they offer some quartz ones, especially some of the other colorways I've seen available, now we're talking. Because at that price, this becomes a much easier recommendation. You're getting a 41mm automatic dive watch, sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, 200 meters of water resistance, a Japanese automatic movement, and some damn good proportions. And if you're a fan of the 50 Fathoms aesthetic like I am, this thing is going to be very tempting. So, is it perfect? No. No watch is. Would I change a few things? Absolutely. Would I recommend it at a discounted price? Hell yes. And most importantly, would I wear it? Well, I've already answered that question, because this watch has spent time in the Bahamas, it's been swapped onto Sailcloth, and somehow it keeps finding its way back onto my wrist. And that's probably the biggest compliment I can give it. So let me know what you think. Would you take this blue gradient dial with a date? Or would you go no date? Would you pay $500? Or would you wait for that sub $300 price? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're new here, welcome to the Big Wrist Syndicate. This is where we talk about watches for bigger wrists, big watches, budget watches, micro brands, homages, and anything else I think deserves some time on the wrist. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And once again, thank you to AV86 for sending this watch over for review. They gave me the watch, but they didn't buy my opinion. And that's the way we're going to keep it around here. Y'all stay saucy, keep it funky, and I'm out. Peace.